Look, this is where we left off. I put my reference images back on because now I'm going to be trying to get the legs in place, and I think I'll use I think I'll use the spear same as I have done up here, the cube I should say, with the modifiers on. So I'll do a Shift A, not Control A. I'll add a cube, scale it down, just a minute, I've gone into the wrong mode. Scale it down like that. Make sure I'm in front view. Do a Control 3, grab that cube and put it there like that, and I want it to go into the mesh like that. And the reason I'm using the cube again is so I can get the roundness of the leg. So let's grab that on the Y, bring it back a little bit, and you can see his legs go straight down, so there's no bend for a knee, which we all have, but this obviously he doesn't. Let's do a Shift D, Z, bring it down like that. And again, I want to overwrap the cube by halfway, so that makes it easier when I come to shape the leg. Back to 1, and I'll grab that on the X, no, I don't want to delete it. Grab it on the X, bring it over a little tiny bit like that, and I'll bring another one down, Shift D, Z, and that's all we're doing, just shaping out his leg at the minute. Let's go to 3 and make sure we're following the shape this way. I'll do a Shift D, Z, bring it down again, halfway. And now, let's grab it on the Y, bring it forward a little bit. We're going to start shaping the foot. So let me grab that on the X. I keep pressing the wrong one. Grab that on the X and level it up a bit more like that. And this cube's going to be a bit bigger, this one, so I'll do a Shift D, Z, bring it down like that. Grab it on the X and try and put it in the middle as close as possible. 3, grab it on the Y just a little bit. Then what I'll do with this one is I'll tab in, I'll grab the front face of that, grab the front face there and grab that on the Y and bring it forward a bit like that. And I'll grab the bottom face as well, 3, grab that on the Z, and you'll see why I want it to overlap the bottom, because eventually I'm going to slice the bottom of the foot off. It sounds painful, but it'll give me that flatness so it can sit on the floor. Grab that on the Y, bring that back a bit, and then what I'll do is I'll come into edge select, grab that edge there, let's go to 3, grab it on the Z and bring that down like that, and we're looking to try and shape the foot at the bottom. Bring this into isolation because I need to bring it up now a bit. So let's grab the top, let's go back into 3, and again it's just pushing and pulling about till you get the shape you want. Grab it on the Z, let's go to 1, and now it's got to come out this way, so I'll grab that bottom edge there, let's go to 3, no 1 I mean, grab it on the X and pull it out like that, and we'll do the same with this side. Grab the bottom one, let's go into 1, grab it on the X and pull it out that way like that. And I think I've got the 2 faces there, have I? Yeah, I have. I've got it at the back as well. 1, grab it on the X and pull it over like that. And I think this can come over a bit as well. 1, grab it on the X, and again I'm not looking, no, grab it on the X, not the Z, Again, I'm not looking for perfection at this stage. I'm just looking to get the shape in, and then I can hang on a minute, let's look at that. Once I've got the shape in, all I want to do is make sure I've got the shape and these cubes are touching each other, because these are what's going to help when I join it all together. So I think that's the rough stage on his legs. So I'm fairly happy with that leg for now, because I can shape it better in a bit when I get to that stage. So I'm going to grab that cube, Control A, all transform, set origin to geometry. Same with that one, Control A, all transform, set origin to geometry. And just reset your transforms all the way down them, all transform, set origin to geometry. Control A, all transform, set origin, I should say right click set origin to geometry. Let me have another look round a minute. See, what I could do is there, I could do a Control R, put a loop cut in there and drag that down, and that will flatten out the bottom of the foot. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think I like that better, because like I said, I am going to slice the bottom of the foot off anyway, but that will give me that better shape, that better flare out at the bottom. So I'll just reset the transforms again, Control A, all transforms, set origin to geometry. Then what I'll do is I'll come up to this cube, close down my subdivision, and I'll add a modifier, a mirror, and I'll mirror it around the torso. Now I'll grab the foot, what will be the shin, up to there, and finally I'll grab the top one, and you can tell it's the active one because it's a lighter shade of orange than the others. I'll do a Control L and copy the modifiers, and that will put my foot on the other side. So let's turn the reference images off a bit and have a quick look round him and see what we've got. And you can see how fast it was to block that out. The top of the head doesn't look right, it looks a bit too round to me. Just let me click on the top. I'm just going to put a little inset in, see what it does. So look at one. Tab out. Tab, no, hang on a minute. One. Tab out. And is that more the shape of him, his head? Let me pull up a reference a minute. He does have a slight bow to the top of his head. So let me grab the top of his head. I'll grab that inset I've just put in. In fact, I haven't done that inset right, so take that back. I'll do an inset and scale it in a bit, that's it. Come to one view and grab it on the Z and take it up just a fraction. If you hold down the shift key, you can drag it up in smaller increments. Just a little slight bow I'm looking for on top of the head. And I think that's a bit better. Or I could take that up a little bit more, grab it on the Z. Very slightly, that's all we're looking for. That's a bit better. Now I'm wondering if I should join it together. Yeah, I think I'll join it together at this stage. So what we're going to do now, we're going to join all these parts together because at the minute they're all separate. But if you join them now, if I do, I'll just show you. If I grab those two and try and join them to the body, and do a Control J, which it hasn't done it in this version, but take it back. In previous versions, when you do a Control J and the mirror were on, it would take the mirror off one side, but it hasn't done it in 3.5 for some reason. I think they modified it. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on B on my keyboard, that's box select, and select all the parts of that mesh. I could go around them all here, click the drop down and click apply to every modifier, but you've got a chance of missing one. Another way of doing it is to come up to object at the top, down to convert, and convert that to a mesh, and that will apply all the subdivisions. All the parts are still selected. I'm going to press shift on my keyboard and click on the head, so the head is now the active part, and I'm going to do a Control J and it will join everything else to the head, which you can see it's still here. Now I'm going to rename this before I go any further. I'll call it Sackboy HP, because this is going to be the high poly version. Right click, shade auto smooth, and you can see we've got a basic level of shading as we go. But if we look inside now, scroll to the top, scroll right into it, you can see that's the top of his neck. We'll scroll inside, we've still got the mesh inside, we've got the arm, and if I come down to the bottom and scroll in, let's have a look upwards. Now I can't get in close enough to it. I'm trying to get it there, you can see, look, you've still got the other cubes inside. So I'll do a Control Z, go into wireframe, and you can see it now. All that mesh is still inside it, and we don't want that because that's never going to be seen. So what you essentially want is, you want it just the outer shell of this character. So come out of there, come back into normal, out of X-ray, and what I'm going to do now, because I've done this, I'm going to join them all together properly. So I'm going to go into sculpting now, over to object mode, down to sculpt mode, and this is where we'll use all his tools to shape him and smooth him out. But over here, I scroll over like this on the wheel. I want to do a remesh of him, so click on the character, he is selected I mean. If I click on the prepare, you can see, click on the little character, it's chosen what remesh it wants, but if I do that, you can see we've gone very blocky. So take that back, and I'm going to put the remesh voxel size in I want myself. So first up, I'll take it down to a 0.01 and see what that does. And if you take it down too low, it will take a while to do it, so just be careful. I think I've gone a bit too low on that. Oh, I haven't out-clicked remesh. Right, and you can see it's joined that together. We've got it, it's blocky, but we've got the thing we want there. The fingers haven't joined together, and that's what I was looking for. The head's all in place, but if you look now, scroll in, and if I can get in close enough to look inside the mesh, you can see now it's taken away all that inside. That's the leg at the bottom. We're scrolling, we've got the arm at the other side, it's taken away all that inner mesh. And if we go back into X-ray, you can see it's a very fine mesh at the minute. There's nothing inside it. Now we come to smooth it now. So I think, I'm wondering whether I should just carry on or go to the next video. I think I'll just do a little smooth out first. So click on the, basically, what tool am I on? I'm on my draw tool. Any tool in here you can turn into a smooth tool just by holding down the shift key. So hold down my shift, and I'm just going to smooth it like that, and you can see how it's removing those rough edges where it's been joined. But take that back, because I'm only doing one side of the model. and I want it to symmetrise to both sides. So if I click on the X up here by the side of this what looks like a little butterfly, now if I smooth it now, you can see it's doing it on the other side as well, and that's what we want. Essentially we only want to do half a model. I wish I only had to clean half an house, but it doesn't work like that. So we'll go around and we'll smooth him now, and we're just going to give him a first pass. There might be about 3 or 4 smoothings before you get to the stage you want. But all we're doing at the minute is just taking away the rough edges and taking away the lines in the original subdivision. It's better to use a tablet or a graphics tablet but to do the smoothing, but you can do it either way, a mouse or a tablet, it doesn't really matter. What's important now is you get the smoothness, because you've got to think ahead with this sort of thing. When you come into the retopologize, the faces will pick all of this up, so you need that smoothness. Now look here, we haven't got the joining close. It's joined at the arm, but it's not joined as close as I'd like. So what I can do is I can come up to my clay with my clay strips, there we are, and I can run some extra clay around the outside like that. But be careful with this tool, because it does, if your verts are very close together, when you put clay on this side it will pull the arm in on this side, so always check it hasn't done that. And we're just running around now, we're just filling in that gap round the back. That's why I wasn't bothered about them being perfectly aligned, because I can just smooth that out like that. And sculpting is a lot of fun when you get into it. It's not boring, put it that way. Continue around there and we'll keep filling that out. And it's just time consuming, but it's worth it to get a nice smooth mesh. Because like I said, when you come to do the retopology, which is essentially wrapping it in an outer skin of polygons, it will find all of these imperfections. So we're getting the arm smoothed out a bit. Like I said, this is just a first pass, just take away the rough edges, and you can see, but because I've got symmetry on, it's doing it on that side as well, which is what I want. So I need to get that shoulder a bit higher there, I think, so I'll put a bit more clay down there. And once I've got these down, I'll move on to the fingers, which the fingers are important when you go, you'll see in a minute. And at some point you're going to move away from the original reference images, which I've already done because I've got him in a T-pose, and they originally had his arms down by his side. So I think that will do for now there. With the fingers, I'm wanting a good smooth flow around here, because when I retopologize them, again, it's all about the retopology. I'm going to be laying down 2 layers of polygons, one at the base of the thumb and one at the tip of the thumb. So I need them a good shape, so the mesh will stick to it for a start, and I don't want any jaggedness between the fingers. All I want is a good smooth flow so that when I come to cut it up, it will, well, mark the seam I should say. When I come to do that, it will flow nice and evenly around these fingers. And that's all about the smoothness. Getting it right to start with. And again, this is just a rough block out. Not a rough block out, this is just a rough smoothing. There'll be another pass of this after this. I'll take it down to a finer voxel count and smooth it again. Now this part here which I left in the middle of the hand, which you can see there, I can take care of that. That's why I left it like that, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that section. You see I'm on the clay strips brush, lay down some clay, but if I hold down control I can remove clay, so like that. So I'll just run it around like that and just take away a little bit of clay in the middle of the hand to give him that dip in the palm of his hand. Not too deep, we don't want it to cause problems later. I'm just taking away enough so it takes away that bulkiness on his hand, and oops, Control Z, Control Shift, that one, Shift Smooth, that's the one. Takes away that bulkiness and it gives me that nice look of a dip in the palm of your hand, because if you look, your hand's beveling in the middle. So it's coming along there. Again, first pass. Keep reiterating. Keep making that point. He does have quite thick arms at the top, so we'll leave them like that. Just do a quick smooth there. I think I'll remove a bit of clay on the back of the hands as well. So hold down control again, just take it down a little bit, going down towards the fingers. Just to shape it a little bit and smooth it out again. And at some point I will switch to my graphics tablet to do some finer details on him. I'll just move down here now, just take away the roughness round the legs, like that. And this is why I got these cubes sort of half overlapping a bit, so it's not as much to fill in. And as strange as it may seem, we're not far off actually starting the retopology. This is just a few more passes of this, moving him out, cutting in the mouth and that, putting his eyes in, and that's about it. The more you do it, the quicker it gets. But for now, I think I'm happy with that. I've got to run down his head and just take away the roughness, but I don't want to damage the shape of it, so I'll take that back a bit. And I think I'll switch to my tablet for that, so because I can, with the tablet I can get a finer touch to it. The mouse, you're putting a constant pressure on it, whereas with the tablet you've got your pen, you can press down harder on the pen to give it a harder touch, or ease up a bit for a lighter touch. So I think, let me look at that. I think what I'll do now is I'll just put the bottom of the feet the right shape. Oops, come out of tab. Come into object mode. I'll grab that on the Z, bring it up to where I want it, about there. And if you remember, I drag the bottom of the feet down. So I want the bottom of the feet to be perfectly flat so they stand on the floor. So I'll go into object mode. I'll come to, just a minute, not in object mode, I'm in sculpt mode. Sculpt mode. I'll come down to mask, come to box select, try and get on the x-axis and cut straight across the bottom there like that, and that will highlight the bottom of his feet. Then I come back up to mask, come down to mask slice and fill in the holes. That will cut off the bottom of the foot and fill in the holes then, and that will make that level. So I'll come back up to the top now, back up to remesh and remesh him again, and bring that new shape into the fold. So all I have to do then is just tap round the bottom of the foot gently and just smooth it out round the edges. But what I'll do is I'll end this video now, and I'll come back in the next one where we'll do another pass at the smoothing and putting some eyes in and get the mouth in place, and then we're well on our way to the retopology stage. So I will say thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.